Hey guys, Professor Bill, Comic Book University, and Shuri, issue number 2. Gorgeous cover. And it stays this gorgeous all throughout. There's a really good issue. I've said it multiple times before that Nnedi Okorafor is going to need time to get her comic book voice. Well, she's getting a lot sooner than I expect. I expect it to at least be 10, 15, maybe 20 issues in before she actually got the voice, right? Nope. She's almost dead set there. Still a couple complaints, but whatevs. I can deal with all that. So let's get into who actually made this book. This one is called The Baboa Tree. I'm sure I'm pronouncing that wrong, but you know, my bad. Sorry. So writer Nnedi Okorafor, artist Leonardo Romero. Jordi Belair is on colors. VC's Joe Sabino is the letterer. Cover artist Sam Spratt. And variant cover artist, let's see if I can get this correctly, Afua Richardson. I think I got that first name right. Watch, I screwed up on the Richardson. Anyway, Shuri decides that she is not going to be the Black Panther. She is not interested in actually taking up that role, that mantle again. She's done it before. She does say at one point in here, I died wearing that suit, died trying to live up to that legacy. You know, when you put it in the passive sense, that's cool, but no, she can say, I died in battle. You know, so she died against freaking Proxima Midnight. I mean, space badass, you know what I'm saying? Who came to make an example of nations. I mean, Jesus. But like Shuri was she became the Black Panther during a time when and really important people to freaking Wakandan history died, man, when that happened. But she became a Black Panther and went up against the Inheritor. Which one was that? Marlon. You know what I'm saying? Who to this very day, right now in the current printing, Marlon and his family are pissing off a whole lot of spiders in the Spider-Verse, right? So, I mean, like, she did that after he went and just got finished killing the ape totem, the white ape totem, man ape. I mean, like, Shuri's badass. She didn't die. She was killed. You know what I'm saying? What do you call it? Just don't pacify that, man. But I get it. She's trying to be humble, I guess. Anyway, she stands up, you know, nice and firm, and she's like, no, I am not going to be the Black Panther anymore. I don't want to be the Black Panther anymore. And honestly, I appreciate that. Let me get rid of some of the white off of my computer, see if that helps. Oh, yes, that helps against the glare a whole lot better, eh? But, you know, this elephant's trunk meeting, she's like, yeah, I just don't want to do it anymore. And she's standing there. She's trying to be proud. She's, you know, she is proud. You know, she's like, I'm going to be me. I'll still help to rule Wakanda. That's fine. But not as the Black Panther. I don't need that identity anymore. I'm me. That's my brother's identity. I'm down with that. I really appreciate that. The next page is going to probably piss off a bunch of people because all of a sudden, like, her mom talks to her and she just gets disappointed and she's reading, you know, Shuri's reading into it. She storms off and she starts crying and all that stuff. And I get it. I do. All right. I've seen daughters, like proud, strong daughters, brought to tears because of their mother. You know what I'm saying? Like, mothers have that, and grandmothers. Man, they have that power, right? They really do. So I get it. I do. Well, turns out Storm shows up, and it's beautiful how it happens. Nice, clear, sunny days, all of a sudden, crack, boom. It's like, you know what's happening. You know what's happening. What's Thor doing in Wakanda? Oh, he got no business there. Storm, however, so she shows up and she's like, hey, they're talking, and they start talking about this one girl. Let's see if I can actually find her name, because I'm hoping that she's going to be really important. Okay. Chief Ikoko. She is the ex-girlfriend of Black Panther T'Challa. I'm sure if I see the images of her, I'll remember, but I think I read too many comic books, so I can't remember it all. Anyway, she is a doctor in charge of spirituality, a doctor of spirituality. So like a doctor of magic, almost like a Doctor Strange. So I know he's doctor of medicine, but guess what? He's also a doctor of anyway, doctor of thaumaturgy. So we actually had one of those. I actually have at least one of those. So what happens? She's supposed to try and help out. Right now, she's an almost useless character. She just makes silly little quipes here and there and insults Shuri. Shuri gets offended, you know, a little bit. And she's like, whatever, blah, 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 blah. We don't really need you anyway. I'm sure I can figure this stuff out on my own. And right now it's just really more childish, which is fine. I'm going to say two things. It is regressive of Shuri's character, and I like it. I like it because, one, the movie is out. We were forewarned that that Nettie is going to be trying to bring a little bit of that movie verse into the comic books. Totally down with that. Why not? It worked, right? It worked. So, how many times have we tried to, us comic book fans try to bring our spouses or whomever into the movies? Like, let's see if I can get you to like comic books like this. And it's always like, oh, it's a really good movie. You want to read the comic? No. With this, like we get out, my wife's right away. Remember that Black Panther book you bought me? Yeah, can I have that back? Oh no, it's my book now. I'll let you borrow it, but it's my book now. You return my gift. So, you know what I'm saying? I'm not gifting something twice. So, what do you call it? Yeah, I do like the idea that she is being regressed a little bit. There's no need to rush and grow up Shuri. You know what I'm saying? I appreciate that writers have done that in the past. I'm down with that's cool, baby. That's cool. But yeah, I'm also okay with Shuri not being forced to rush and grow up, right? So this is a good Shuri as far as I'm concerned. She's got the ancient spirits with her, all these past kings and whatnot. And this is actually going to segue well, I think. She's got all these past kings with her. So she'll actually be able to, she's going to have that maturity or she's going to have the wisdom with her, but she doesn't need the maturity to go with it because it's not her wisdom, mind you. And the voices aren't overwhelming, even though she's suggesting they are. Think of the character Aztec over in the DC comics. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, no. That is overwhelming. When they put on the helmet, whichever version of Aztec it is, the him or the her, that is overwhelming. That's maddening. This is just like, it's annoying. Cool. So they're not overburdening. That's a good thing to know. But they can, I'm sure that they eventually could be if they wanted to, if something happened in the spiritual world. Just imagine that headache of all these voices screaming at you, something's happening, help! Like, oh my God, shut up. I can't help anybody right now. I need 6 Advils. What do you call it? So, oh geez, I was going to segue into this. Okay, anyway, so this character, this girl in the yellow dress, Chief Ikoke, or whatever her name is, she's not particularly important right now, but she could be. She's in the yellow dress there. She's not particularly important right now. She helps, she brings Shuri to the Baboa tree, and she helps her to go into the astral plane. Yeah, it's really cool. That's really cute and all that stuff. Thank you for your help. Go away now, right? No. This could be made into a major character, and I really hope that this is in Nettie's plans to do something similar to this at least. She could actually be like a spiritual advisor. See, in some ways we might think, and my first thought was, why wouldn't all these ancient kings know how to send her to the astral plane, right? But why would they? I'm sure that all these kings had spiritual advisors. Even Black Panther has had spiritual advisors before. But like magical advisors, things like that. I'm thinking about like the Old Testament. David, the prophet King David was the first person who was a prophet and a king. All before that, they would have the kings and they would have the prophets, right? They'd be 2 separate people and they would have to work jointly with each other. David was the first person to combine those. I don't necessarily need them all to be combined. I'm cool with I almost said Nettie, and that actually means something too. I'm very cool with the idea of Shuri not being very spiritually in touch. Yes, she's got magical powers. Yes, she's got the ancient wisdoms in there, from a certain perspective, from the king's perspectives, from the chieftain's perspectives, the Black Panthers' perspectives. Yes, that's history, but it's still their perception of history, So it's not going to be a perfect history. It's a history of Wakanda, verbalized history. Kind of like reminds me of the Zulu tribe in that regard. Everything's verbal. Nothing needs to be written down. Nothing needs to be written down here. Things should have been written down there. What a shame at that. But the idea here is that she could be made into a spiritual advisor. In this way, they could still have their bickering back and forth, and I think that would be great. And yes, I do believe that Shuri should become the leader of Wakanda. But I also think that T'Challa should remain the leader of Wakanda. You could have a co-sponsored, co-dependent, hierarchy. There's no reason why they can't do that. They've already broken from so many traditions in Wakanda. Why not? Anyway, I would like for her to become a spiritual successor. The reason why I said it's interesting, I called Shuri Nettie, I almost called her Nettie, is because I am actually, in my head, I'm making Nettie and Shuri almost the same person in this regard, because she has done so much for this character. I love that. Anyway, Shuri's got to go into the astral plane because she's going to try and see if she can find the body, or excuse me, possibly the bodies, or the ship that her brother and Manifold had actually went off into space in. She's reestablished it's only been 2 weeks. While it may seem like it's a lot longer in the Black Panther Intergalactic Empire of Wakanda book, that still makes sense. Time and space are inexorably intertwined with each other. I can't remember exactly how the physics lesson went. It was like time folds space and space bends time, something like that. I can't remember exactly how it is. Maybe I got them reversed. But they're the exact, for all intents and purposes, they're the same thing. It's almost impossible to talk about space without talking about time, and vice versa. They're almost perfectly in tune with each other, although they don't necessarily have to be. That's important to understand. So in this particular case, you went through a black hole. Yeah, well, it's been 2 weeks for us. It could have been 20 years for them. Perfectly acceptable. They should age, though. They should physically age. Just saying. That doesn't get to undo itself. But there's this other girl there, too. She was just trying to escape reading. And I get that. That was like the big thing with my wife before we met. She always used to go someplace and just sit under a tree or find a rock, someplace where she could be alone and just read. So yeah, that's cool. Me, I never had a problem drowning out white noise. What do you call it? Maybe that refers back to the meditation practices I had when I was younger, that she didn't have. But yeah, she goes there to read, and they don't realize she's there. She's trying to hide because she doesn't want anybody to know that that's her secret reading place by this baboa tree. So that's actually cool. So maybe these two will actually be tied in some way, shape, or form also. I like that. I love that there's so many characters being introduced in here, and very, very slowly. They're given time to breathe. I love that. Nothing's being rushed here. Nothing has to be rushed. We can just take our time with this, man. So anyway, I'm not going to get into the ending, even though I think it's kind of cool to show what actually happened in the back. I know you can see a little bit of the side, but whatever. It's not important. Yeah, she becomes tied with Groot. She goes inside Groot. This whole thing happens. I'm not interested in the idea that it says, I am sure. She shouldn't be able to say that. It should still sound like I am Groot. But Rocket's right there, so it might be a translation. Whatever. I let it go. In the very beginning, when she says, I'm not going to accept the Black Panther hood, she says, I can't do it perfectly, but I think I just got it the second time. Like that. You make that sound and run it right across your lips. And this is an African thing. And that was actually really dumb for me to say. It's a thing that happens in certain parts in Africa. My wife never said that before, where she's from, on the east. But what do you call it? Yeah, it's like it's a thing, that they say. It's a whatever. It's more than just a sound. That's the word for it. But it's a sound that you can make to, like rolling your eyes or agreeing or, questioning, whatever. It's a whole bunch of things, and it all has to be taken in context. Like Indians, when they, shake their head like that. It has to be taken in context with what's being said and what the environment is, what's actually going on around you. I think the best thing that we could say in America, white America at least, it would be dude. There's all sorts of different dudes. You know what I'm saying? There's like, greeting dude. Dude. There's, there's disapproving dude. Dude. You know what I'm saying? There's, are you hiding in a closet with a knife waiting to pounce on me? Dude. So, the same kind of thing. Same kind of thing. But Nettie brings that, and she brings a couple other things in here also. She talks about the Balboa tree. There's one particular part in there which I didn't like. She says it's the greatest place in the world to do astral travel. Well, if that were the case, then there's no way to really hide that from the truly powerful magicians, and that means that all the other magicians in the world, the sorcerers, would come and try and either use it or destroy it. So there's that. So I don't like that idea, all right? I like the idea of saying it's one of the best places in the world, like it's equal with Stonehenge and so many other, you know, Easter Island, you know, and things like that. So many other amazing places in the world where there's great access to, you know, the barrier between the mystic and the mundane, the prime material plane and the astral are, you know, paper thin, razor thin even. I'm cool with that. I'm cool with that, but don't say it's the greatest place in the world. All right, unacceptable, because if that's the case, then it becomes contested, you know, and just already as it stands, there's, what is it? Wakanda is kind of the Mary Sue nation of the world, right? Everything great comes from Wakanda. I'm okay with that, as long as it's not everything. You know what I'm saying? let's try and balance it out a little bit. Maybe it's just a nationalistic pride on there. I would also want to complain that Storm at one point says she jumps into this and she's got to help to electrically charge the air. It seems like that's one of the only reasons why she's there. It's not, but I get it. Anyway, she flies off and she's like, you know, remember, I'm a god, or I'm a goddess, remember? Yeah. Look, I'm okay with the idea of women saying that they're goddesses. It's been around for like a decade or more. I don't know what it is, but it's just a self-empowerment thing. It's totally cool. You know, oh, if a man is a king, well, the woman is what? A queen? No, a goddess. I'm okay with that. I'm cool. You know what I'm saying? It's building up your self-confidence. We could use more of that in the world. Everybody, seriously. Maybe there won't be so many damn snowflakes in the world if we could all just empower ourselves and feel confident in who we are, take pride in ourselves, right? So I'm cool with that. But Storm is not a goddess. She's a mutant. I love it when she says I was worshipped as a goddess when I was, when I was younger. And sometimes I feel like I really am. And there's boom, and just do something really powerful and things like that. That's cool. But when there's nothing pressing and she just says, I'm a goddess, remember? Maybe Nettie's trying to, you know, make it as a sarcastic kind of thing. But it's very hard for that to come off, even in a comic book, you know? It's got to be taken into context. And when you say it like that, I read that and the first thing I thought of was, oh, Storm just went crazy. Storm actually thinks that she's, you know, this is beyond a standard narcissist complex. She actually thinks she's a goddess. So she's nuts, right? It sounds like psychopathy when she says it, and that's not cool. It's not cool. Storm is not a goddess. You want proof? Let me teleport you into the middle of space. There's no atmosphere. There's no weather. Done. Without an electromagnetic sphere, you're nothing except a human mutant, you know, with the X gene, who's about to suffocate in the vacuum of space. So, you know, no, she's not a goddess. She's not a goddess. Thor is a god. Sif is a goddess. Storm is a mutant. A very freaking awesome mutant who's got unbelievable power, but she's not a god. She's not a goddess. So hate that. But that's a pet peeve. That's like a little quirk. But again, with the Mishu and a couple other things in here, like the way she explains the Balboa tree, besides the greater than, you know, greatest place in the world, I like the way that it was explained here. I think it was in World of Wakanda, or Wakanda Forever, I think it was called, Wakanda Forever X-Men, whichever one it was, where Storm is shopping, and she's like, oh, I think I'm going to get this rare exotic fruit, and this rare exotic, or, you know, this African delicacy. Oh, and I think I'm going to get this African delicacy. Oh, and this African fruit also. She devoted like a whole page to that, and it was such a waste of a page. Because that's not the way that you spread African culture or any kind of culture. That's not the way you do it. Nettie is, I don't know if she's an expert on African culture, but she knows a lot about Africa. And I definitely enjoy learning about these things. It's called the Dark Continent for a reason. We don't know a lot about its history. And that's not their fault. That's not their fault. But anything that I can learn, even of their current culture, I would love that. I spent very limited time in Africa, and even then, it was really only Egypt. Did I go anyplace else in Africa? Tunis. I went to Tunis and I went to Egypt. I didn't even get the chance to go to Morocco yet. But what do you call it? I haven't even been to my wife's homeland. You know what I'm saying? Like there's a lot of places in the world I haven't been to yet, you know, and I actually want to spend time there, like a month or 10, you know what I'm saying? So I would love to learn more about all these different aspects. I've still got an open invitation to go to South Africa, and I would really like to be able to hang out with people from the Zulu Nation. I'm just saying. So there's a lot that she could teach us, and I'm an open vessel to learn. But since it isn't a comic book and it's not a history book, it's not a novel, I would really like it to be written as a comic book. And it is in this one, all right? In that particular issue I was mentioning before, not at all. It threw me right out of the comic book. I actually started to get a little bit angry because I'm trying so hard to get invested in this comic book. And I'm like, I'm actually pissed right now that I can't because this is written so horribly. I don't even care about these fruits. You know, like in my head, I'm like, who cares about these stupid fruits? I'm actually going to want to know about this stuff later, but right now I'm really pissed off at the fruits because this is not the way that you introduce it in the comic book. This was the way to do it. I really like this. Write things that we don't know what they are. And those of us who choose to look it up will look it up. You can actually look up Mishu, however that's spelled in there. You can actually look that up. You know what I'm saying? Because I was talking to my wife about it. What the hell is this? And then she's like, no, such and such. I'm like, oh my God, I can actually Google it. That's incredible. Like, you know, it's real. You know what I'm saying? I like that idea. I like that. Also, there's a part in here where there's a bit of a callback to a previous issue that she wrote. There's something that's mentioned, and then there's the asterisk in the narration box where it says, hey, over here, you can find out more about it by reading such and such and such. One, that's an awesome way to market because if you care at all, you'll go and check it out. If you don't, you won't. But it's a way to get, it's an offering. It's an offering to the reader. Yes, it's shameless self-promotion when you're promoting your own books like that. This is a picture of me not caring. Do it. Because it's a further chance for us to know more about you. It's a further chance for us to know more about the world that you're writing about. Points in time that you're referencing in comic book history. I want to see more of that, not just of her books, but of, all the books. Let me hear about more than just A Nation Under Our Feet. Let me hear more about, like Reggie Hudlin's run on Black Panther. Reference something just every once in a while. Just do that. So like that's what I want, to give readers more of a reason to say, oh, okay, because you know what, the biggest problem people have with new comic books or whatever is a jumping on point. And there's always that fear that we're never going to know what the hell is going on, right? All these new readers are always so intimidated. But if you put a lot of those narration boxes there, a bunch of those text boxes that recall to other issues, people would say, oh, that's interesting. You know what? I think I'm going to go and see if I can find that trade paperback someplace. And all of a sudden, what'd you do? Now you're increasing comic book sales, possibly helping a comic book store or two, and you're getting them more invested in the characters, in the books, in your writing, in everything. And that's how you're going to develop an amazing audience that loves you, because you're doing callbacks to other comic books. I need to see more of that in all comic books. And I saw in this one, I think it's actually the only one I saw this entire week. Damn it, what's happened to comic books, bruh? Anyway, this was a really good issue. This was an amazing issue, especially since, like I said, she's still fairly new at writing comic books, man. She did a great job on here. Like I said, I really associate the character with her at this point, more than I associate this character with than with her creators. You know what I'm saying? I really do associate this character, Shuri, with Nnedi Okorafor. So that says a lot. That says a lot. Characters in her hands, man. Anyway, guys, Professor Bill, Comic Book University. Class dismissed.